for the Land Use Committee. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Betty, a second? Coach, thank you. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, let's vote. Okay, vote passed unanimously. We'll move on to informational items. There's no new minutes for the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. Anybody have any questions on unsafe structures or the development summary? Okay, we'll receive and file those. Moving on to zoning cases. The first one is zoning case ZBA-2025-0014, petition of Michael Stegmeyer. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Sharon, Matt for the second. Taylor, take it away.
Right, this is the petition of Michael Stegmeyer. He is requesting to rezone a 0.95 acre parcel from C2 General Commercial to A2 Agriculture in order to convey it to the adjacent parcel to the east. The parcel is located at 11608 West Cottonwood Road in Rosefield Township. In order for parcels to be combined, zoning classifications must match. The adjacent parcel is currently zoned A2 and consists of the petitioner's house. Both parcels share a driveway with access to West Cottonwood Road. A large lake borders the property to the south and west. The property was zoned commercial in a 1985 zoning case and was previously used for retail sales of sporting goods related to the water skiing activities on the lake. It was later utilized as a general contractor office, but has been used as personal storage for the last 5 years since the applicant retired. The petitioner's request will allow the subject 0.95 acres to be zoned according to its current use and match adjacent zoning classifications. The request would also remove the future potential of commercial uses developing in an area that currently consists of residential and recreational uses. There are 2 consents and 0 objections on file. Staff recommended approval, and the ZBA recommended approval unanimously.
Thank you, Taylor. Any questions for this? And there's no change of ownership on this. It's just the same owner, just changing so it all matches up, right?
Yes.
Okay. Seeing no questions, please vote. Next, we have zoning case ZBA-2025-0019, petition of Friends of Wildlife Prairie Park. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Betty, a second. Terry? Taylor?
All right. This is the petition of the Friends of Wildlife Prairie Park, who are represented today by Austin Engineering, a Peoria-based engineering and land surveying company. They are requesting a special use to operate and establish a recreational vehicle park in the A2 Agriculture Zoning District. The petitioner proposes to develop a 9.5 acre part of the western portion of the park property, consisting of 40 recreational vehicle campsites, renovation of a building into a new visitor center, and upgrading the parkside pavilion. Additionally, improvements will be made to the lake and beach areas. Each campsite will have access to septic hookup, water hookup, and electricity. The site will not allow for tent camping. RV campsites will be 24/7 for gated guest access, with check-in and out managed during regular Wildlife Prairie Park hours. Current hours of operation are listed as 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. per the park website. The subject parcel is adjacent to the main facilities of Wildlife Prairie Park. Improvements to the non-motorized pedestrian walkway across North Taylor Road have been added as a restriction to the case per the comments of the Peoria County Highway Department. Approval of the request would support the mission of Wildlife Prairie Park, which is to offer interactive, nature-oriented educational and recreational activities that provide transformational experiences inspiring conservation of the great outdoors. There are 0 consents and 0 objections on file. Staff recommended approval with restrictions related to Taylor Road, and the Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with restrictions 6-0.
Thank you. Any questions? Terry?
Taylor, I'm assuming that with this rezoning, they would have to apply for a septic permit? Or is
Yes.
there already one on the property that's suitable?
The health department commented on that, and they would need to put in new septic systems, and then the petitioner is also here, and I think he could speak more on that.
Can you use the microphone, please?
Hi, I'm Sam LaHood. I'm from Austin Engineering. We are going to remove the existing septic fields. They're outdated and we're not sure of their condition, and we're proposing new septic fields that meet current standards. And it has been sized for 4,000 gallons per day, which is the calculated load. And that's based on soil conditions. I think we took 9 soil samples, and the flows that are generated from the RVs and the pavilion are estimated to be 4,000 gallons per day, which is the area that we have reserved for the septic field.
Thank you.
Okay, don't just keep sitting there, please. We've got more questions. Number one, I'm excited to hear that they're going to put it in because Peoria County definitely needs an RV park. Have they figured out whether or not they're going to have long-term camping, or is there going to be a set amount of time that you can stay there? Since it's a park, a lot of times they only allow 2 weeks or whatever. Are you going to allow people to stay 2 to 3 months, stuff like that? And will it be open in the winter?
It'll be seasonal. So I think it's around 9 or 10 months out of the year. The water hookups are through hydrant. You connect a hose to a hydrant, so it's not technically frost protected. So they have to drain it every year before the winter. And what was the other question?
Long-term camping, more than a week, 2 weeks. Are they, sometimes you'll have people come in that are working in the area. Are you planning on letting people stay for 3 or 4 months or 2 weeks, or?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't. I'm sorry. I can't say whether or not.
Okay, that's fine. I have an RV, so that's why it's a little easier to ask some of the questions because I've been to enough different parks. Sharon, do you have any questions? Anybody else have any questions for this? And when are they planning on starting?
After the special use is approved, we'll design there's one pedestrian access route that we're going to have to design for approval from the highway department. So visitors from the east can safely access the park and the beach. But after that, it would just be permitting with the Illinois Department of Public Health and Illinois Historic Preservation Society, which last time to get a beach permit, it took quite a while. So we're hoping that we can be open this time next year and start construction on it
Okay.
as early as this summer.
Okay. Sounds great. Any other questions from anybody? Please vote. Okay, passed unanimously. Last zoning case, case number ZBA-2025-0017, petition of Ameren, Illinois. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Betty, second. Sharon?
This is the petition of Ameren, Illinois, who is represented today by Rod Hilburn and Patrick Dahlman. They are requesting to construct and operate a 2.5 megawatt AC commercial solar energy facility with 1.5 megawatt AC battery energy storage on a 37.07 acre parcel. The subject parcel consists of an agricultural field not currently in production and timber and is located at 2400 North Pritchard Road in the southeast quarter of Section 34 in Kickapoo Township. The requested use consists of approximately 4,800 single-axis tracker photovoltaic cell panels capable of providing electricity to approximately 420 homes. The panels are mounted on posts driven into the ground, secured by perimeter fencing, and supported by associated electrical equipment to collect, convert, and transfer the electricity to the main grid or stored on-site in accessory battery energy storage systems, or BESS. 6 individual ELM microgrid energy center containers will be installed, each consisting of 16 ESS module 43 kilowatt lithium iron phosphate batteries. Battery modules will be stacked in 2 columns of 8, and each energy center will be interconnected with adjacent containers. The overall footprint of the energy center will include the individual containers, main interconnection control box, and switchgear equipment hub. The BESS facility will meet the safety standards of the International Electrotechnical Commission, the IEC, Underwriters Laboratories, the UL, and United Nations, the UN. Additionally, a copy of the manufacturer's fire protection plan includes detail on how systems are designed with various levels of protection from fire and endangerment of the public. As required in the Unified Development Ordinance, the applicant has included a copy of the Emergency Operations Plan. Subject parcel and all adjacent parcels are zoned A2 agriculture. Several residences are in the surrounding area. A combination of existing landscaping and proposed buffering will help to screen these uses from the view of on-site operations. The petitioner's site plan demonstrates that the proposed facility would meet the required 150-foot separation distance from dwellings on non-participating properties. Based on the petitioner's site plan, the nearest dwelling would be located approximately 170 feet north of the fence line. Section 717.3 addresses the minimum conditions for a special use permit for a commercial solar energy facility, and the petitioner's application demonstrates that these standards will be met. Commercial solar energy facilities are also required to have a decommissioning plan pursuant to the requirements of the Illinois Department of Agriculture's Standard Solar Agricultural Impact Mitigation Agreement, or an AMA. The petitioner submitted the executed AMA for the project with the special use application. Section 719.3 addresses the minimum conditions for a special use permit for battery energy storage systems, and the petitioner's application demonstrates that these standards will be met. Staff recommended approval with 8 restrictions. The first 7 restrictions are customary to what the board has seen for solar farms. The 8th restriction has been added to call attention to training and potential equipment necessary for emergency responders should any issues arise with the battery component. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with restrictions by a vote of 6-0, and then representatives from Ameren have a brief PowerPoint which will further explain the project and showcase the battery products.
Thank you. So, yes, if our Ameren friends, if Patrick and that will come up and
Yeah, I believe so.
give us a PowerPoint, that'd be wonderful. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Dahlman. I'm the project manager for Ameren, Illinois. Joining me today to my left is Rod Hilburn, who's the manager of Ameren Technology Application Center, as well as Ruthie Bertram, who's in the gallery, who represents Ameren, Illinois Community Relations Coordinator. Thank you for this opportunity to present the Peoria Energy Center project to you. Start off by, as you see on this slide here, the project is at 2400 North Pritchard Road, bordered by West Pottstown Road to the north. It's inside the 474 loop, which lies to its west. And I'm sure you're a little more familiar with it than I am, as far as exactly where it's all at. Next slide. Thank you. So how the Peoria Energy Center project came to be, in September of 21, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed Senate Bill 2408, the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act into law. This included provisions in the legislation for the ability for Ameren, Illinois to own and operate pilot solar generating facilities. This law allows facilities to be constructed in both East St. Louis and Peoria communities. The total expenditure for constructing each facility must be less than $20 million per the law. In addition, for the Peoria Energy Center project, 12% of the workforce labor to construct the facility must come from the surrounding equity eligible or environmental justice communities. Next slide, please. So I'm going to turn it over to Rod. He'll talk more about the technical aspect of the project. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take the site plan, bring it to the front, and I'm going to point to things as he discusses it.
We need three-dimensional, sorry. So you can see the site. The main site has orange boxes and blue boxes. Those are actually where the solar panels are going to be. And in the upper right-hand corner, coming in from the other side, Pat, basically the magenta line, that's the connection to the 13.2 kV system. So we're basically interconnecting to a distribution circuit that is in existence on Pottstown Road. We'll be bringing the wires up the hill and then bringing them across over to the center portion of the project, and then a little bit south is where the energy hub, and that is the area where all of the majority of the equipment actually resides there in the grayish area in the center of that box. That's where we have the transformers that turn the 13,000 volts down to the distribution voltages that the solar and battery storage facilities provide. That's where we'll have 3 transformers, we'll have 10 inverters for the solar array, plus we'll have 6 energy storage containers, all in that hub. As was stated, I think by Taylor, there's some dotted lines. Red dotted line represents the 50-foot residential or property setback. And then there's some orange dotted lines on the upper left and the lower right that represent the 150-foot setback that we're required to have from the facilities. The project is unique in that it's allowing Ameren, Illinois to get back into the generation business. We've already completed 2 projects in East St. Louis. The law allows us to do a project in Peoria, which we are intending to spend the entire $20 million on this one project in comparison to what we did in East St. Louis, where we had 2 projects down there because we had smaller pieces of property that we tried to locate these on. The other aspect that the law requires is something called a project labor agreement, and we have to have a project labor agreement, and we're working with something called the Tri-Trades. That is a partnership between IBEW, the operating engineers, and local laborers that we've used this on the other projects, and it worked fairly well for us. And so that's where we will have this international agreement that will be used for us to execute the project with. And part of that is a requirement for us to have prevailing wages have to be paid. So that is another good benefit from my perspective. The last thing that I think I'll talk about is that this site meets what's called the Renew, Restore, or basically it's in the Equity Eligible Investment Community geographic definition, which is made up of two components. One is the Environmental Justice Community geographic location, and the other is the R3, or Reinvest, Renew, Restore, which is a state mandate. And so we selected this site because it basically achieves the equity investment community definition. So that takes care of that. So next slide. We were asked to get a couple of pictures of our energy storage facilities because I think there may be some questions associated with this. So if you're looking at the right-hand side, that is the first energy storage system that Ameren has placed upon its infrastructure. That is at my testing facility, which is what my normal job is I take care of testing of third-party products at our facility in Champaign. And so that is a 250 kW, 2-hour battery installation. On the right side is where the batteries are at, and then all of the rest of the infrastructure that's necessary to connect it back to the grid is the rest of the equipment that's to the left of that right picture. The wider box that's on the left-hand side, that is a picture of our East St. Louis 2 500 kW installation. So for the Peoria site, you're going to have something that's similar to that, but there's going to be 6 boxes rather than just one box. So just wanted to let you know what a battery looks like. Next slide, please. Inside, took a couple pictures so you can see what they look like. On the left-hand side, those are the actual battery modules. So they are stacked. They will be stacked in 2 rows. In the actual ones for Peoria, there will be a total of 16 per column of the lithium-ion cells. They're each 43 kilowatt hours apiece, and total installation is like 4.1 megawatt hours is what the battery will provide. So those are what the modules look like. If you've been to a server farm, the modules kind of look like a server. And the center, that's fire suppression equipment, so that is an inert gas that we use if there is a problem. There's several things that have to happen before that inert gas gets transmitted. We have monitoring of the individual cells. Those cells make up the modules. So we have a battery system that's monitoring down to the cell level inside the modules. We also have a different computing system that basically manages the entire energy storage facility as a whole. And assuming everything is working well, then nothing triggers. We have to have several things have to go wrong in order for the inert gas to actually extinguish a fire. If we're sensing a fire inside the compartments, there's several things that have to take place in order for that to actually trigger. I will tell you that the one that we had in Champaign has triggered one time. It wasn't because we had fire. We had a power supply on a computer that the power supply smoked, which created smoke in the vessel, and so that triggered the fire suppression system. We've learned from that mistake, and so now we need both smoke and heat in order for that system to actually trigger. So that's a lesson learned for us. Then some of the controls are pictured there on the right-hand side. So I'll pause there unless you want to open the floor for questions or finish through the presentation.
Anybody have any questions right now, or should we continue? Betty?
Let's see. In other words, each one of those boxes will contain a fire suppression and control, or is it just one for every box?
Each of the boxes have this.
Each one have their own.
Each of the boxes have this, as well as the only combination thing that we have here in comparison to the one we have in East St. Louis is that our heating and air conditioning system will take care of all the units.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Batteries like to be at around 77 degrees Fahrenheit, so it is heated and cooled inside these compartments just to make sure that the batteries are really happy so that we can use them how we want to. Yep.
Terry, go ahead.
I've had the benefit of this presentation once before, and it appears that this is, at least from my perspective, the most responsible installation of solar. If I'm correct, this is somewhat experimental in hopes of bigger things someday. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what this does with batteries is it enables those solar panels to work all day and all night. Don't need sunshine to get power from a battery. So it is, I think, more of an investment from Ameren than just getting into the power generation business. They're learning a lot. I'm sure you'll share technology as it becomes more known. This is, in my mind, what and we get a lot of solar farm applications here, but this is, in my mind, what all of them should be once this technology is perfected. So I applaud Ameren for getting so deeply involved in this. It makes solar more viable, and I'll be supporting you guys.
Thank you.
If you guys want to go on with your presentation,
Sure.
go ahead.
Next slide, please. You want me to do this one?
You already said that, so.
I've already kind of covered some of this. So the 4 project partners that we've got on the project, Azimuth Energy is the prime contractor that's working for us. They will have, Guarantee Electric is going to be providing supervision on site, and Zeller Electric is who we've hired here locally to do the majority of the work, and then we're bringing in Terra 5 to do our civil aspects of the project. Terra 5 is one of the companies that Ameren uses on a regular basis across the state. They're actually headquartered down in St. Peoria, I think is where their headquarters is. But that is, Azimuth is responsible for getting the PLA actually executed, so they've already started that process. And we've done, both of the projects in East St. Louis have been done by Azimuth Energy, and Guarantee have been our vendors. And we did competitively bid this one, and they, again, won the bid. So, next slide.
Take that. So how the project came about, just to give you a little timeline on it. Ameren acquired the property in October of 2023. In the past year of 2024, we completed geotechnical surveys, environmental surveys, and we commenced with pre-construction activities. Here we are in 2025, and we are in the permitting. We are in pursuit of the Peoria County Special Use Permit. We are nearing completion on our pre-construction activities, and we are excited to hopefully commence construction activities here probably around Independence Day. Sometime around that is when we're expecting right now on our current schedule. And then looking forward in 2026, we will the plan is to complete construction, do commissioning, and place the project in service. Next slide, please. So as Rod spoke about briefly, benefits to this local community. It supports the state of Illinois' renewable energy goals. It brings cutting-edge technology to the Peoria area. It also contributes to the region's growth. Region's role in the growth of green technology, as well as supporting long-term environmental stewardship. It does incorporate on-site battery storage technology, as Rod has explained. It also brings local tax revenue to the area. It will create approximately 50 construction jobs utilizing local labor during the duration of this project. A vegetative landscaping screen will be planted along the south neighbor's property as requested by the neighbor. As far as inside the fence and the rest of the site, we will be planting with low growth grasses and a pollinator species. And the remaining site is also be planted with pollinators. And this project is a continuation of Ameren, Illinois' commitment to building a stronger regional economy here in the Peoria area. And that is the completion of our project.
Does anybody have any questions for him? So will this be used as a training one for like colleges or schools to bring people out for training sessions or for educational purposes?
You're a good straight man. You're a good straight man. Yes, the answer is yes. So the short answer is yes. So we're already engaged with Bradley University. We've already engaged with them on some of the design concepts, as well as myself and somebody from our regulatory group. We've done 2 presentations before the college to explain what we have to go through in the permitting process, as well as what's necessary from a regulatory process. So we've already started those. This is the second year that we've done that. One of the things that we also expect is that we'll probably be giving tours. Both East St. Louis 1 and East St. Louis 2, we've already been giving tours. Actually, East St. Louis 1 is across the street from the high school, so we actually have 3 presentations during the calendar year that we do for the East St. Louis high school students. But the facility there is a little bit more conducive to us being able to do that, whereas here, we're not going to have a building. It's basically just going to be an outdoor facility. So yes, the intent is for us to have some type of engagement with the community from those perspectives.
And I noticed with the south neighbor, you've already got a plan that they approved of vegetation. You know, I saw spruce trees and that. Is there any other neighbors that you've had to contact that to make it so it's more eye appealing to them?
So basically there's 2 residences, one in the northwest corner, one in the southwest corner. We've talked to the southwest corner, and that's where we've come up with some agreement with that individual. We've reached out to the northwest corner. We've sent them information. They did not have any further questions for us. They seemed, happy with what we had given them.
Anybody else have any other questions? Our last chance before we vote. Okay, please vote. Okay, we've got 2, 4, 5 for, 1 against. So we'll move on to the Cole County Board. Next, we have subdivision waivers. We don't have any of them, right, Taylor? Okay. We're up to public comment. We have one person, Michael Sandin. Okay. Okay. Okay, yes, I'm sorry, Mike. Okay.
Just wanted to thank you guys again. I do hereby rise as a citizen of the south side of the city. I very much appreciate the board's fiscal conservativeness, and in general, thanks for all your efforts making PIA the greatest, well, could be, anyway, the greatest county in the state. It seems we have the people, the history, especially the history if we promote that, I think, and the wherewithal and the talent to get it done. Is that okay, sir? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any miscellaneous from any of the board members? Okay, Scott, what's that?
I was just looking around. I think every board member was here earlier, so my miscellaneous was covered in a prior meeting.
Okay. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.